Hello and welcome to another episode on the Garage of Luke channel. Now, you might notice that something's a little bit different today. I'm not standing out in the cold. I'm instead indoors under artificial lighting. I've got my sleeves rolled up and I've got these horrible gloves on. There's a reason for that. There's also a reason for this large stack of gear in front of the car. If you've watched the last video on this £500 E36, you'll remember me saying,
I'm on quite a wavy, wobbly road, and over certain bumps, it does quite aggressively try and pull me into the ditch.
hopefully all of these parts will go onto the car and then I will get into the car, I will drive the car and go, oh, this is lovely, this is fantastic. And it basically just won't drive like a £500 E36 anymore. There's a lot of things to go on, there's a lot of things to do, and some of these parts I'm, let's say, not the most qualified and consummate professional and able to maybe fit those properly. So I have brought in a consummate professional. Ladies and gentlemen, William Cox.
I think it's a bit of a stretch to call me a professional, but yeah, we'll give it a go.
You're a professional compared to me, and also you taught me a lot of what I know about mechanics. You've had a chance to look around the £500 E36. As you can see, obviously it's mint, but in all seriousness, what do you actually think of the car?
It's alright, it's a good start. Apart from the massive risk of tetanus from the exhaust and various other bits I'm inevitably going to fall on my head, it's okay.
Yeah, the exhaust pipe does need a little bit of just chop it, go through it. So we'll do that. As you can see, lower arms, auxiliary belts, track rod ends, track control arms, servicing bits, oil. So we're going to buzz all of that on. It'll take but a moment. But I would just like to take a moment to say a humongous thank you to the Bilstein Group. So that's Febby Bilstein and Blueprint. We've got parts from both companies. Huge thank you to Febby and Blueprint. Their Instagrams will actually be in the description, and if Jamie's clever enough, there'll be two little boxes that we can pop on the screen for you to follow them on. Shoot them a follow. They've been hugely supportive. All the parts are OE matching. Really nice quality parts, 3-year warranty on everything as well, which given how long I usually keep a car will be fine for me. I reckon maybe we should pop the car forwards, pop these bits out the way, and then up. Yeah?
We're doing up, we'll crack on.
We're doing up and we'll crack on. That's good. Let's get cracking. I'm going to quickly take you through the list of things which Will has very handily stuck up, and also it's like being in a bank, he's taped a Sharpie to the wall, so because I will lose the pen. This is the list of things I like to do: oil change, spark plugs, air filter, cabin filter, because the blowers are really slow, which I've been told is an E36 thing, but I bet the cabin filter's never been done either. Fuel filter, probably a good idea. Lower arms, track rod ends, suddenly not that fussed about, mainly because Will's just had a fiddle about and has informed me that the play is actually in the inner joints, not the track rod ends, so a bit pointless, especially if it's getting a new rack on it, so we might leave them. Anti-roll bar links, front and rear, mainly because we've got to take them off anyway to do most of the jobs we're doing, and rear trailing arm bushes because he's just stuck a pry bar in them and they go, and I did kind of know that they needed doing. So that's kind of the long and short of it, and we'll kind of cross this off as we go so we can keep track and not forget anything basically. So that's most of the things that we set out to do on the BMW done. Now there are a couple of things we didn't do, but there are reasons for that. We did not do the track rod ends in the end because, as you pointed out, it's actually got play in the inner joints.
In the inner joints, in the rack rather than...
Yeah, with the plans for this car, it's probably going to end up having a slightly shorter rack on it basically. So I didn't really think there was any point doing that. If it's having a rack at some point, it's just a job that you do then.
Keep the parts for then.
Keep the parts for then. The other thing was the rear track control arms, because when you pull the bolts out of them, they hit the diff. Now you could just lift the diff, just move it out the way a bit, but the diff has got to come out anyway for the next step of this process, which will basically involve the engine and the gearbox kind of being popped in the bin, and that diff will have to come out because it's an auto diff and I need a manual diff for the manual gearbox that's going in it. That'll be coming soon. I mean, I'm really excited to see how it drives. It's dark outside now because we've been down here for a few hours and I had to have lots of breaks, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how it drives. Obviously massive thank you to you, Will, for helping out, and well, I say helping out, doing most just a bit. I'm going to drive this home, see how it drives. But I've decided that after looking at this and all its salt, and I can see it under the lights, it's just covered in swirl marks, despite the fact it was cleaned yesterday. I think tomorrow it might be time to give this paintwork a little bit of attention. And then maybe we'll take it somewhere and see how it looks once this paintwork's just had a bit of a kind of over. So yeah, I'm excited for that, but thank you very much, Will. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm sure I'll bring you another absolute bucket to make your day very, very soon.
Well, I'll look forward to it.
Right, let's get this home and let's get dinner. Morning. It's the next day. We are here at DS Detailing. DS Detailing actually stands for Dan Scambler because this is my father. Say hello.
Hello.
So we're here because what my dad does is detailing, basically.
Yep.
Don't want to say valeting because that would undersell it completely.
Yeah, it's a bit further in valeting, so
Yeah.
do more sort of prestige stuff, nice cars and
Buckets.
And yeah.
What we're going to do is, because last night under the artificial lights of the unit, I looked at this and realised the paintwork is covered in swirl marks. There's like hazing on it and stuff like that. So the aim today, hopefully, is to get rid of it.
Yeah, I think
So-
we can do that.
Well, fingers crossed. I'm very excited to see the results. We're going to crack on and take you through a couple of bits of the process and see how it comes out. Let's get cracking. First of all, we need to take contaminants off.
Decontaminate the vehicle, yep.
Yep.
So basically we're going to go through the clay bar process and get it ready for machine polishing.
What happens if you don't do this and
Well,
you try and
basically you
machine polish
don't,
it?
you just end up grinding all your pad up and make a complete mess. It's nice to start with a nice clean surface.
Awesome.
All right.
Brilliant. And this means that foam hopefully won't fly everywhere as I destroy the pads.
Yeah.
So, right, cool. We'll do
Yes.
this bit first then. So I'm now standing at the back of the car by the boot because I wanted to try a little something just to see how much of a difference this is actually making to the paint. We've got some tape across the boot. This bit, which I've just been speaking through to, has been done. As you said, there's some little marks and blemishes, but it's a 28-year-old car. And compared to how it looked, would you like to do the honours and peel the tape? Oh my goodness. That is amazing.
Yeah.
The difference between there and there, it's a 28-year-old car. You're never going to get everything out. Otherwise, you're
No.
risking taking too much.
Yeah, take too much out and you're just cutting down on the lacquer, so.
Yeah, but that is amazing. In what's becoming a recurring theme, I chose this moment to get my phone out and start looking for buckets on BCA to allow the professional to get it done. Mainly because with me doing it, it would have taken 3 to 5 working days and the results would not have been very good. And then by the time I was done, the car was finished. As you can tell, it's now dark because we've spent so long, I say we, my dad has spent so long sorting this car out, and I'll be completely honest with you, to me, it looks like a different car. You are a complete perfectionist, and as a result, how do you think it went?
It's come up well. It's come up well. I could spend another 4 or 5 hours on it. It's what it is.
Yeah.
It looks good.
It's 28 years old at
Old.
the end of the day, so there's only really so much you can do, isn't there? It looks fantastic. I can't wait to get it out tomorrow in the light. They give it sunny, and hopefully it will be, because I bet it already looks fantastic now. But in the sunlight, I think this is going to look absolutely fantastic. Obviously, if any of you in the Cambridgeshire area or further afield need a detailer with attention to detail like my father, he is the best I know. He's fantastic. I will link the DS Detailing Instagram and Facebook pages in the description of this video. Please get in touch because you will not regret it. This looks fantastic and this is an old bucket. Just think if you had a nice car, what it'd end up looking like. So yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Dad. And yeah, I can't wait to get it out in the daylight tomorrow. So as you can probably see, it's now daytime, and I have been very excited all night to get out in this in the daylight, because I haven't actually driven it in the daylight since we did all the mechanical work. I drove it home quite tired from the unit and wasn't really able to appreciate how much of a difference what we did has made. Now, on a sunny day where it almost feels actually like spring, I can feel the differences that have been made to this car, and it does not drive like the same car that drove into the unit 2 mornings ago. Everything is so much tighter. Somehow the tracking is still bang on, and the rear end track, it's not crabbing or anything like that. So Will's done a fantastic job of making sure that everything went on kind of where it came off. The rear end doesn't waggle its tail over bumps now, which is important, I would say. And also there's so much more confidence in the car. It is genuinely like a new car. I'd have to say again, a massive thanks to Febby Bilstein and Blueprint for the parts that they obviously supplied for this car, because they have just made such a difference. I mean, it steers perfectly, it doesn't knock at the front end anymore. It's brilliant. I'm so happy, and especially on a day like today with the sun out, there's not a cloud in the sky, I'm going to savour a little drive in this, because this is fantastic. Even though it's still got its automatic gearbox and its wheezy single cam engine, that's quietened down. The oil change has definitely made a difference to that, and I'm just really enjoying it. So I'll see you in a few minutes after I've had a chance to just enjoy the local countryside. So there we go. I've enjoyed a wonderful drive through the countryside in what effectively feels like my new 318i, and it is brilliant. I'm so happy with just how much of a difference has been made, not just to the car in terms of its mechanicals, but in terms of how it looks. It looks absolutely fantastic. Compared to how it was before my dad started on this, it is night and day. I know he's a bit disappointed because he's such a perfectionist, and this is a 28-year-old car. There are chips on the bonnet and some deep scratches that nobody can get rid of unless you repaint the panels. But to me, it looks fantastic. Going down the road, it looks wonderful. I can see the reflections of everything in the paint. I'm so happy with it. There is only one problem though. Doing all of the mechanical work and covering up the small issues that the car had has kind of now raised the issue of it feels like a very competent car with a very incompetent engine, gearbox and driver. I feel like the next time you see this car, we might have to start changing that before we start modifying, because I don't really want to do the modifications that I would like to do to this car, to the brakes, the interior and everything else, before I've changed the engine and gearbox. So with some luck and the wind in the right direction, I should be able to crack on with changing this to the engine that I want to put in it, which is another 4-cylinder, but not the same 4-cylinder. I'd love to put an M44 in it, and I'd love to have my friend Bruno at BDS Motorsport work his magic with the engine and pop a manual gearbox in it. Hopefully you'll be seeing that soon. I've been Garage of Luke. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out massively, and I'll see you next time. I'm going to enjoy dailying this for a little bit more, and then we'll get on to the next bits.